Hi guys, Tyler, we're back before Meeting of the Minds by LizzeXX. We're on chapter 13, which is the first chapter for the school reading episode. So if you want to follow along, chapter link will be in the description below, as always. However, if the links don't work, you'll have to go onto fanfiction.net and archive. I have to follow along. We're on chapter 13. The author's name will be in the description below, so you can easily find it. So, and I highly do recommend you follow along because I have a habit of accidentally skipping words and starting over them. So, really highly recommend it. And also, you can leave a review, comment, videos, all that at the end of the chapter. Show the author some love, which again, highly recommend. So let's get right into this with chapter 13, School Reunion, Investigations. The headmaster of the school descended a flight of stairs and headed for his office when he spotted a small girl sitting outside it, waiting. At first he walked right past her, but paused and looked back at her. "What do you want?" "The nurse sent me, sir," the girl replied. "I was in English and I got a headache. But don't follow me. Go home." "I can't." "Why? Is your mother at work?" "I live in Emperor's Hall, the children's home." "No parents?" He started to smile. "No one to miss you." She shook her head. "I see why the nurse sent you. You poor child. Poor, thin child. Come inside." He turned to his office and walked in, the girl following him. "Nearly time for lunch." He shut the door behind him. Suddenly there was a horrible screech and the sound of slapping from within before the girl screamed. The school bell rang and the stairways were crowded with children hurrying to get to their next lesson. A boy ran into the science lab and went to sit on the bench, just as the door opened and a familiar pair of white trainers stepped inside. The doctor plunked his briefcase onto the teacher's desk and turned his attention to the class. "Good morning, class," he smiled. "Are we sitting comfortably?" He waited a moment before turning and writing physics on the whiteboard, underlining it. So, physics. He replaced the cap and tossed it back on the desk, turning to the class. "Physics, eh?" "Physics. Physics. 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 Physics." The class looked bemused as he sniffed loudly. "How on earth are you getting all this down?" Okay, let's see what you know. Two identical strips of nylon are charged with static electricity and hung from a string so they could swing freely. What would happen if they were brought near each other? A small boy with glasses put his hand up. "Yes, what's your name?" "Milo," the boy replied. "Milo, off you go." "They'll repel each other because they have the same charge." "Correctamundo." The doctor paused in thought. "A word I have never used before and hopefully never will again. Question 2. I coil up a thin piece of microwire and place it in a glass of water. Then I turn on the electricity and measure to see if the water temperature is affected. My question is this. How do I measure the electrical power going into the coil?" Only Milo raised his hand to answer. "Someone else?" He looked around to see no one else even wanted to attempt the answer. "Oh, okay, Milo, go for it." "Measure the current and PD in an ammeter and voltmeter," Milo replied, amazing his classmates. "Shoot to Milo," the doctor nodded and leaned against the table, looking at him. "Right then, Milo, tell me this. True or false? The greater the dampening of the system, the quicker it loses energy to its surroundings." "False." "What is a non-coding DNA?" "DNA that doesn't code for a protein." 65,983 times 5. 329,915. Some of the students started to look a little disturbed at that, but the doctor continued. "How do you travel faster than light?" "By opening a quantum tunnel with an FTL factor of 36.7 recurring." The doctor gaped at him. That was right. Angel, dressed similarly to how she always dressed, though her crotchet lacy duster was replaced by a solid TARDIS blue cardigan, blinked and stared at the line of students growing along her desk. She'd taken the position as the librarian, much like the doctor had gotten a job as a physics teacher. She really hadn't known what she could contribute to a school in terms of the cover story. She wasn't very physical, so the PE teacher was out, nor did she think She thinks herself capable of teaching any of the subjects, save perhaps history. But that spot had been filled by one of the new teachers. She wasn't very good at keeping track of things. Often would her mind wander and things got lost, so secretary was off. She doubted she'd be able to be a tech teacher, as she was better at TARDISes than any other mechanical or technological device. And, well, the last time she tried to cook anything, they had to vacate the TARDIS for 3 hours till the smoke from the kitchen cleared, even with the extractor fans running at full pelt. She was fairly certain the TARDIS had been laughing at her after that attempt. She pouted a bit. She'd been trying to make cake as a treat for Rose and the Doctor, just on a whim. Little cupcakes, really, with those edible ball bearings on top, but had blown up in her face, literally exploded, and then set fire to the kitchen. The Doctor, though, ever the Doctor wanting to make her feel better, had just smiled and remarked that he was actually happy that she wasn't a great cook. She'd been confused by that, not sure why he was so pleased she basically failed, and he just said that she was perfect. To him, she really was just perfect. She was just so sweet and kind and forgiving and full of light that there were times he doubted she was real. He actually admitted to her that he did find himself pinching himself at times just to make sure she wasn't a dream. He honestly couldn't believe that a girl like her, so good, could ever love a man like him, could even exist really. The fact that she couldn't cook, well, it made her real. That flaw, because he truly couldn't seem to find another despite her protests, made her that much more real to him. She wasn't just some figment of his imagination, a result of him finally going mad, but truly there and he. And then he grinned, said that it would give him the chance to teach her how to cook. A new bonding experience for them. She smiled at that. But right now, she couldn't help but sigh as she sat there looking at the children, impatiently waiting for their books to be checked out. Sitting there around nothing but books made her feel rather useless. All she seemed capable of was stamping the date to a book. She couldn't teach, she couldn't cook, she couldn't really do much of anything. She understood how Rose felt now when the cigarettes had invaded. When Rose was stuck at home, she felt useless. When she was away from her TARDIS, she felt rather useless too. Ma'am, one of the young boys called, trying to get her attention as her mind wandered. My book? Oh, yes, sorry. She nodded, stamping the book out and handing it to the boy who beamed. Please, he finally got a shot at the advanced physics textbooks he nabbed off the shelf, much to the annoyance and grumblings of his peers. Ma'am, our girl came up to her as she continued stamping. Yes? She looked at her. Can I help you? Yes, ma'am, she nodded. Would you happen to know if this faculty is stocked with any new bibliographic items that may contain situations involving multiple quadratic factors, scholarly, scholarly filings of Pythagoras, or collections of algorithmic sequences? Angel blinked and stared at her. I have no idea what you're saying. The girl sighed, rolling her eyes. Math? Got any books on math? Oh, she nodded, blushing a bit in embarrassment. Yes, back wall, she pointed. The one on the right. It's only half stocked, though, she called as the girl dashed off after the books. She noticed the math and science books were quite popular. She sighed, stamping the last book, the children rushing to the tables and chairs and desks to get to their readings, quieting down almost immediately, the library falling silent. When another boy stepped up to her, his head bowed a bit. She smiled. What can I do for you, Kenny? The boy just placed the book before her, more pictures than words, but all about medieval knights. I'd like to check this one out. She laughed, looking at it. Oh, I loved books like this when I was a child, she told him, stamping it for him. I think you'll enjoy it too, she leaned in. Knights in shining armor, rescuing the damsels in distress, heroes rising from the shadows and just saving the day. She gave him a soft look. Much more interesting than any old physics book, eh? She winked, getting him to smile before he scooted off. Her work there was done. She got a smile out of the boy. She noticed that Kenny didn't seem to be as eager to learn as his classmate, not seeming able to keep up as much as she could emphasize entirely. The dinner lady scooped food onto the oncoming plates of students and teachers alike as they slowly filled the canteen for lunch. The doctor moved along the line with his tray, pausing by Rose, disguised as the dinner lady, so she could serve him a helping of mashed potatoes, all the while giving him a dirty look. He just smirked at her and headed over towards the table where Angel was waiting for him. He sat down beside her, placing the tray between the two of them to share. Both of them were nibbling on food here and there when Rose came over with a dishcloth to wipe down the table. 2 days, she mumbled. Sorry, could you just... He gestured to an area of the table with his fork. There's a bit of gravy. Rose moved to wipe it. No, just there. She wiped it again. No, leave her alone. Angel nudged him playfully. 2 days we've been here, Rose continued. My new boyfriend. He's the one who put us onto this. The doctor shrugged. And he was right. Boy class this morning. Got knowledge way beyond planet Earth. And I've checked the library databases, Angel added, shaking her head. All the advanced books on the science have been checked out constantly by at least half the student body already. The other half are on the waiting list. The rest of the students have taken to the maths books as well. You eating those chips? Rose asked, eyeing the untouched chips on her tray. Yeah, they're a bit different, the doctor trailed, watching as Rose helped herself to one. I don't like them, Angel frowned, recalling the taste of them. They taste funny, really oily. I think they're gorgeous. She sat down across from them. Wish I had school dinners like this. Very well behaved, this place. The doctor glanced around. I know, Angel agreed. I've never seen a library that silent, or students so serious and studious. So, she paused to think. I suppose I'm just not a fan of the quiet. She trailed off in thought a moment. Van Stanton and quite a few other places had been far too silent. No one really talked to her, fearful that they'd let some important piece of Earth information slip to the alien enemy, or just because they didn't know what to say. And, in the silence, she could often hear the Daleks screaming more clearly. No, she didn't like the quiet. She had to smile, though. Things weren't ever very quiet for very long anymore. Which it never is now, thanks to you. She nudged the doctor playfully. Oi, he laughed, though pleased he was able to comfort her, provide her with that small reminder that she wasn't alone anymore, just like he wasn't. I'd take your gob over science in the library any time, she told him, making him beam. Rose seemed to agree, though they weren't too sure if her mouth was full of chips. The doctor glanced at Rose and the chips before watching as the students continued to eat them as well. I thought they'd be happy flapping hoodies. Happy flapping hoodie with asbos, asbos? Happy flapping hoodies with asbos and ringtones. He spoke to Rose. Yeah? Yeah? Oh yeah. Don't tell me I don't fit in. You are not permitted to leave your station during sitting, the dinner lady reprimanded Rose as she stopped by their table. I was just talking to these teachers. Rose gestured to the doctor and Angel as she stood. Hello, the doctor smiled as Angel waved. Don't like the chips, Rose whispered to the head dinner lady. The menu has been specifically designed by the headmaster to improve concentration and performance, she replied, a bit offended. Now, get back to work. She turned and left, forcing Rose to follow. See? Rose turned back to them as she walked. Is this see? She waved a hand at her apron. The dinner lady. We'll have the crumble, the doctor called after her. I'd rather have a cookie. Angel shook her head. The doctor laughed. He really did love how some jokes just went right over her head. All right then. 2, 3, Angel whispered. What for Rose? 3 cookies. He smirked at Rose. I'm so gonna kill you, Rose threatened, returning to her station. The doctor looked around, spotting another teacher, Mr. Wagner, he recalled, making his way over to a girl sitting a few tables away. Melissa, you'll be joining my class for the next period. Milo's failed me. This time it moved you up to the top class. Kenny? He looked at the slightly pudgy boy beside her. Not eating the chips? I'm not allowed, Kenny replied. Luke, extra class. Mr. Wagner glanced at another boy. Now, he turned and left, quite a few children following him, as the headmaster watched from a balcony above the canteen. He glanced down to see the doctor and Angel watching him. What do you think? The doctor muttered to Angel as the man walked away. Here the teachers seem rather bat-like, don't they? She asked. He cast a quick glance at the headmaster's retreating figure. Not remotely. Then again, knowing Angel and her comments, they were probably some sort of bat-like alien beneath their human-like image. Rose stood in the kitchen drying a tray as a group of dinner ladies very carefully wheeled a barrel of oil in. She eyed them, wearing masks, goggles, gloves. Careful, one of the women warned. Keep it steady. Don't spill a drop. I said keep it steady. Careful. That's it. Easy now. Steady. Rose's mobile rang and she quickly answered it. Right, second barrel. Quickly now. What you got? Rose asked, knowing it was Vicky. Confirmation, Vicky said. I just got into Army Records. 3 months ago, massive UFO activity. They logged over 40 sightings, lights in the sky, all of that. I can't get any photos because then it gets all classified and secret. Keeps locking me out. Tell you what, though, Rose commented quietly. 3 months ago, turns out all the kids' staff were replaced. She glanced over to the woman, moving another barrel with unnecessary caution. And this lot were weird. See? There's definitely something going on. I was right to call you home. I thought maybe you called me home just to call me home, she remarked fondly, slightly hopeful. Do you think I'd just invent an emergency? Well, you could have done. That's the last thing I'd do. Watch it, the dinner lady shouted, because every time I see you, an emergency just gets in the way. Rose's eyes widened as the barrel toppled over and spilled onto one of the dinner ladies, who screamed in agony and started smoking. I've got to go, she cut in, hanging up on him. Get her up! Get her up! One of the women shouted as the scalded woman was helped to her feet and steered into an office, still wailing in pain. Rose tried to peek through the partitions, but the blinds were drawn close. She heard a scream and started dialing 999, but the head dinner lady emerged from the office, pulling her goggles down and eyeing Rose suspiciously. What are you doing? Calling an ambulance? No need, she's quite all right. Rose hung up, when suddenly there was a sound of something bursting into flames, smoke, followed by a smash, smoke spilling out the door. It's fine, she does that. She turned and walked back into the office, leaving Rose looking confused as she cautiously eyed the barrel of oil. Mr. Wagner made his way to the front of the IT room, children already at their terminals. I'd like you all to put your headphones on now, please, he said, and the children did. Now, children, the things you'll see. He pressed the key on his computer and the children raised their hands to the keyboard, typing unnaturally fast. Eyes locked on the screen where some sort of green code was crawling down the monitor. The headmaster led an older woman down a flight of stairs, talking to her about the praises of the school. My improvements aren't confined to the classroom. Oh, no. We've introduced a new policy. School dinners are absolutely free, but compulsory. No childhood. Oh, I'd love to. Thank you. And it's got to be said, the transformation you brought about was amazing. I mean, maybe you're working with children a little bit too hard now and then. Hmm? But I think good results. They're more important than anything. Exactly. You're a woman of vision, Miss Smith. Oh, I can see everything, Mr. Finch, Sergeant Smith stated, quite clearly. The doctor sat on her desk, nibbling a biscuit, as Angel sat beside him, fidgeting slightly as she looked around, as though looking for someone. Another teacher pacing up and down before them. Yesterday, I had a 12-year-old girl give me the exact height of the ward Troy, in cubits, the man stated. Things like that have been happening since Mr. Finch took over, Angel asked. Finch arrived 3 months ago. Next day, half the staff got flu. Finch replaced them with that lot. He nodded over to where a group of serious, smart-looking teachers were standing rigidly. Except for the teacher you replaced, he turned to the doctor. And that was just plain weird, her winning the lottery like that. How's that weird? The doctor looked back at him. She never played, but the ticket was posted through her door at midnight. Huh. The doctor popped the biscuit into his mouth. The world is very strange. You've got to stop doing that, Adrian remarked as the other teacher turned to add something to his tea. What? He asked her quietly, using the lottery as an excuse. What if we end up somewhere where there's no lottery? What then? Well then, the winner would be very lucky, wouldn't they? He grinned at her. Excuse me, colleagues, Mr. Finch called. A moment of your time. The doctor and Angel stood, turning to look at Mr. Finch standing beside a very familiar woman in the doorway. I knew it, Angel whispered, smiling wildly. May I introduce Miss Sarah Jane Smith? Miss Smith is a journalist who's writing a profile about me for the Sunday Times. Sarah Jane smiled and nodded at them. The doctor just stared at her in disbelief and unhappiness. I thought it might be useful for her to get a view from the trenches, so to speak. Don't spare my blushes. And with that, he stepped back out of the room. Sarah Jane caught the doctor's eyes and headed over to him as Angel turned around to busy herself at the small tea counter, giving him space to talk to his old companion. Hello? Sarah Jane grinned. Oh, I should think so, he beamed. And you are? Huh? He shook his head quickly, snapping out of his thoughts. Uh, Smith. John Smith. John Smith? She eyed him curiously. I used to have a friend who sometimes went by that name. Well, it's a very common name. She paused a moment and thought. He's a very uncommon man. She held her hand out to him. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. He shook her hand eagerly. Yes, very nice. More than nice. Brilliant. Um, so, um, have you worked here long? No, it's only my second day. Oh, you're new then. She leaned in a bit. So, what do you think of the school? I mean, this new curriculum. So many students getting ill. Doesn't that strike you as odd? You don't sound like someone just doing a profile. He smiled at her. Well, no harm in a little investigation while I'm here. No, he nodded. Good for you. She gave him a smile in return and turned to greet the rest of the teachers. Good for you, he breathed. So proud. Oh, good for you, Sarah Jane Smith. Are you surprised? Angel asked, stepping aside. Very, he nodded, still unable to take his eyes off Sarah Jane. I'm glad, she grinned. Seriously hard keeping the secrets from you. He turned to her sharply, his eyes wide. You knew. I had a feeling that we'd meet someone you knew. Someone good this time. Someone you really miss. I thought it might be an old companion. Steve was right. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to see the look on your face. I was glad to see you that happy. He smiled at her softly, pulling her to him. You make me that happy, he whispered, gently clapping her cheek. It was true. She did make him happy. So happy words could hardly express it. Psychic, thief, she laughed at what had seemed to become their playful nicknames for each other. The bell rang, shaking them both out of their little world. Teddy watched a few of his fellow students go up the stairs, very lost as to why they actually wanted to go to class. He looked down the hall, hearing a flapping noise, before following it to the IP lab. He crouched down to peer under one of the desks and jumped back, seeing a horrible bat creature screech at him. As he popped up, Mr. Wagner straightened up from behind the desk, cracking his neck, eyeing him dangerously. This isn't your classroom, Kenny. Now run along. Kenny turned and ran down the hall. The corridors were dark and empty that night, the chairs up on the desk when a torch shone into the room. Sarah Jane appeared at the window, undoing the latch and peering inside. When she was sure the coast was clear, she hoisted herself in. The doctor opened her fire door, stepping through with Angel into the dark corridor, followed by Rose and Mickey. Oh, it's weird seeing school at night. Rose shivered a bit. It just feels wrong. When I was a kid, I used to think all the teachers slept in school. You never know. Angel looked around in the dark hall. They just might. Right, Dean? The doctor turned to them. Oh, I hate people who say to you, Yang? Uh, comrades? Uh, anyway, Rose, go to the kitchen and get a sample of that oil. Mickey, the new staff are all math teachers. Go and check out the math department. Angel, try the nurse room for records of the kids getting sick. I'll go look in Finch's office. Be back here in 10 minutes. He turned and took off up the stairs as Angel ran down the hall, leaving Mickey and Rose standing there. "You gonna be alright?" Rose asked Mickey, tugging on her sleeve. "Me?" he spurted. "Please. Infiltration and investigation? I'm an expert at this." He strode off in the direction Angel had gone, while Rose stood there, smiling, just waiting for him to come back. Which he did. "Where's the maths department?" "Down there." She pointed the other way. "Turn left, through the fire doors, on the right." "Thank you," he nodded, striding away again. The doctor headed down a dark hall, his brow furrowed, when he heard screeches and flapping down a way. He paused for a moment when his curiosity got the better of him, and he turned to follow the noise. Sarah Jane started picking the lock to Finch's office when a bang made her jump. There was a screech behind her. She spun around, listening as the sounds grew louder. She gasped and quickly backed down the corridor. Rose pulled the lid off the barrel of oil, spooning some into a small jar, when a shadow passed over her, followed by a screech. She looked up sharply, trying to spot the source of the noise. Sarah Jane backed into her room and slammed the door shut behind her, turning around slowly, only to stop short at the sight before her. There, standing right there, the TARDIS. Her eyes widened in shock as she backed out the room, not believing it. Angel had just reached the nurse's office when she spun around, a sense that she was being watched overtaking her. She looked up and down the corridor before slowly turning and hurrying back down the hall. Sergei stared at the closed door she'd just come out of before turning slowly around to see the doctor standing behind her. "Oh, Sergei," he greeted. "It's you," she breathed. "Oh, doctor." She started to smile and was stepping closer to him. "Oh my God, it's you. You've regenerated half a dozen times since we last met. You look incredible." "So do you," he smiled. "You got old." She hugged you lightly, moving closer still. "What are you doing here?" "Well, UFO sightings. School records gets record results." He gave a shrug. "I couldn't resist. What about you?" "Same." She laughed, when her smile faded entirely. "I thought you died," she said, close to tears. "I waited for you, and you didn't come back. I thought you must have died." "I lived," he said quietly. "Everyone else died." "What do you mean?" "Everyone died, Sarah," he said, in quiet pain. "Everyone except—" Sarah Jane shook her head, not ca- wanting to cause him more pain by making him tell her. "I can't believe it's you." And then someone screamed in the distance. "Okay, now I can." They both smiled and ran to find the source of the scream, almost getting into Rose at the corner. "Did you hear that?" Rose gasped, before catching sight of Sarah Jane. "Who's she?" "Rose and Sarah Jane," the doctor introduced happily. "Sarah Jane, Rose." Rose looked a bit upset and displeased with that as she shook hands with the woman. "Hi," Sarah Jane said with fake sweetness. "Nice to meet you." She looked at the doctor. "You can tell you're getting older. Your assistants are getting younger." "I'm not his assistant," she shouted, almost insulted. The doctor winced and tugged on his ear, uncomfortable and wondering where Angel might have gotten to. She would be a great help in diffusing the situation. "No? I get you, Tiger." The doctor sped off down the hall, leaving them to follow, to a room where Mickey was standing, surrounded by dozens of vacuum packed bags. "Sorry," he said. "Sorry, it was only me. You told me to investigate, so, I started looking through some of these cupboards, and all of these fell out of them." The doctor bent down and picked up a few of them. "Oh my God, they're rats!" Rose shuddered. "Dozens of rats! Vacuum-packed rats! And you decided to scream." The doctor turned to Mickey. "It took me by surprise," he counted. "Like a little girl. It was dark. I was covered in rats. 9, maybe 10 years old. I'm seeing pigtails. Grey skirt. Wait!" A voice cut in. Sarah Jane looked up to see the woman she recognized as baking tea when she talked to John Smith enter, though she was now wearing a lacy blue duster of sorts. "Stop picking on him." "But no," cut in, pointing a warning finger at the doctor as Mickey smirked. "Please," behind him. She turned to see Sarah Jane look at her curiously and gasped. "Oh my God, Jane! She quickly reached down and hugged the surprised woman. The Sarah Jane! Sarah Jane Smith! Yes, Sarah Jane laughed, though throwing a full smirk over Angel's shoulder as Rose before pulling away. And you are? Oh, right, sorry. Angel smiled, having got so caught up in the excitement of finally getting the chance to properly meet one of the doctor's past companions. Sure, she had been standing only a few feet away when they saw Sarah Jane earlier, but she really wanted to give the doctor his moment. Now it was her turn. I'm the angel. The angel? Sarah Jane's eyes widened. As in, you're a time lady. Exactly, she nodded. Nice to meet you. Sarah Jane nodded as well, realizing who the exec had been. She glanced over to see the doctor looking fondly at Angel. Hello, can we focus? Rose cut in, drawing them all back to point. Does anyone notice how anything strange about this? Rats in a school? Well, obviously they use them in biology lessons, Sarah Jane guessed. They dissect them. Or maybe you haven't reached that bit yet. How do you? The doctor and Mickey started shifting, looking warily between the women as Angel just watched, slightly confused, yet amused at the same time. Excuse me, no one dissects rats in the school anymore, Rose shot her a glare. They haven't done that for years. Where are you from? The Dark Ages? She's from the 70s, Angel answered. Anyway, moving on, the doctor shouted, trying to head off the fight, not wanting Angel to get caught in the crossfire he knew was coming, given how Sarah Jane and Rose gave each other dirty looks. Everything started when Mr. Finch arrived. We should go check his office. He tossed the rat to Mickey, who dropped it. All of them followed the doctor out of the room and into the corridor. I don't mean to be rude or anything, but who exactly are you? Rose shot a look at Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane Smith. I used to travel with the doctor. Oh, well, he's never mentioned you. Oh, I must have done. The doctor tugged on his ear again. Sarah Jane. Mention her all the time. Rose paused a moment to think. Hold on. Sorry, never. Well, he's told me all about you, Angel cut in, trying to keep the two women from going at each other's throat as she hadn't the faintest idea why they were. Really? Sarah Jane smiled, victorious. When did this happen? Rose demanded, feeling slightly hurt. Well, you were asleep, Angel explained. We were waiting to test one of the repairs. Got talking? Rose just rolled her eyes and walked off quickly. Rose! Angel called, hurrying after her, as Sarah Jane sped off after them. Oh, mate! Vicky laughed, patting the doctor on the back. The past meets the present and the future. Welcome to every man's worst nightmare. He grinned at the doctor as they took off after the woman. The doctor used the sonic on the lock of Mr. Finch's office. Maybe those rats were food. Food for what? Rose asked. He opened the door and looked inside, his gaze travelling up at some rather odd noises, his eyes widening at the sight. Rose, you used to think all the teachers slept in the school. Well, they do. They looked up at a number of huge bats on the ceiling, hanging upside down. The down wasn't part of it, I just added it because it didn't make sense if it didn't have it, so. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, on the, not on the video, on the chapter. Comment, kudos, go leave a review, comment, kudos, all that. I show the authors some love. As I said in the beginning, chapter links are in the description below, and if they don't work, it's the websites are archive and fanfiction.net. It doesn't matter which one you go on, they're both the same story, same author. So go show the authors some love, and but before you do, be sure to subscribe. I'll put you these every Friday and Saturday. And I'll see you guys next Friday with a new video. Bye!